Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Roxabox90 here with a discussion video about another card. I've been doing these singleton finance speculation discussions, and I think this is a card that's pretty up there in terms of discussion, and I've noticed a trend with him in the last 3, 4, 5 months, and I think it's worth talking about. First up, before we do, we have a news bit. The Holiday 2014 card has been revealed. Yay! These things are hilarious and awesome, and in fact, this link, which I'll put in the description, has all the older ones. You guys can check them out. They're pretty hard to find because they only give them out to employees and certain partners. It's not the easiest card in the world to grab hold of, but this one is Mishra's Toy Workshop instead of Mishra's Workshop, which is crazy card. This adds 3 colorless, but you can only spend it on tokens or spells that make tokens, and then you have to use toys to represent the tokens. Even though Urza tried to apologize, Mishra continued to bear a grudge. Fantastic, fantastic design, fantastic flavor text, and it's with a card that could very well fit into cubes and lots of fun casual builds. I think this card, I hope more of this card gets out than I expect to. I think it would be a lot of fun for a lot of people to play with. Now, onto the discussion. Jace the Mind Sculptor. We've talked about him on and off throughout the entire history of my channel. He's been a large discussion point for most people. We are at an interesting point with him, and I had a couple of brief points I wanted to point out. Lots of points going on. The first is that Jace is pretty darn cheap. If you can get a near mint copy for less, well, about $80 approximately, which is really, really cheap. I traded one not so long ago, 6 to 8 months maybe, for 120, and he'd actually been 150, but then he dipped a little bit. And wow, what a major drop. Literally a third in price in the last, I don't know, we can even look here, 6 months, not even, maybe, oh, I hear it's about a year actually, now I take it back. I traded it, I think it was around here-ish where I traded it. And then it just kind of dipped and just started sliding all the way downhill. There was this little spike, but this is stupid because some people overinflate the prices here. And we end up really realistically here with, if you notice, there's $100-ish, and then it just kind of went downhill. And I can't really say that it's because of the From the Vault reprint, because the From the Vault reprint, yeah, I think the From the Vault reprint helped lower the foil price a little bit, which was around $800 for a long time. I think it did help dip that price a little bit, but it, for some reason, it just really didn't smash the market as much as a lot of people, including myself, expected. And that could just be because From the Vault product don't tend to be nearly as, one, it's not iconic, it's not the original set, 2, it's the quality is just not there in terms of the quality of cards and the foiling, and a lot of things about it is very lackluster in comparison. Now, that being said, is it worth getting Jace now? Is he going to continue dropping? If this trend has been ongoing for about a year now, will another year from now see him sit around $50, which is where I originally got my first 2 or 3 Jaces, was when he was literally under $50? It's a good question. I really am not sure. My guess is that I can't see him falling dramatically less, even if just from speculation and from people not willing to commit to, you know, you invest in Jace, he's Jace the Mind Sculptor, how can I possibly trade him for so low? People, especially if they invested in him, they're afraid they're going to get cheated, they're going to get loosed. If he gets unbanned in Modern, they're going to miss out. There's a million reasons that people could think for delaying the trading of their Jaces or making it difficult, and I think that would impact and delay the overall market. And that, I think, is also part of the reason why his dip is so slow. Most cards that dip down really dip. He, not so much. Why is he so expensive? For those who don't know, mostly because World Wake was not opened as a set very much in draft. That's the bulk reason why. And the reason why is because Zendikar was drafted as all Zendikar. World Wake was drafted as, I think, 2 Zendikar and 1 World Wake. Or at one point it was 2 World Wake and 1 Zendikar, but mostly it was 2 Zendikar, 1 World Wake. And then we had the final format, because it was a big set, Rise of Eldrazi, they just had its own format. Which means that of the draft period, World Wake was drafted a tiny, tiny amount, and no one really jumped on Jace right when the set popped out. Yeah, he was awesome, iconic, cool, but he didn't hit his $100+ marks right when it was coming out, and I think that his overall price came over time and over his constant winning of everything. If you look on Star City, he's been sitting almost constantly at about $100. Again, I don't think they can lower the price on him just because it's Jace. It's going to take a lot of work to lower his iconic status, and there's no reason for them to jump ship and lower the price on him, even though they're stacked out. Another reason he stayed high is because he does see play in formats. He does see play in Commander, although I personally think he's far weaker in Commander than he is in other formats, but he still sees play as 3, even 4 ofs in Miracle decks. This one's old. This is several months old, but his Miracles are still a big deck, big deck, and he's a 3 to 4 of, and it's not the only deck that works with him. He's serious monster powerhouse, and so I don't think it's a problem. I don't think you could lose very much by getting your Jaces and getting them soon. And the reason I think that is I don't think he's going to dip dramatically lower than this. The most I could possibly see him dipping to is maybe $50, like we said, which means you have a like $30 loss if they end up unbanning him in Modern. Not likely, I grant you, but if they do, his price will probably rise a lot, like crazy. And even if they don't, over time, just his status, if you give him years, they're not going to easily reprint him again. From the vault is going to be out of print. He's going to start rising again just from his iconic status, his use. He does see play. I think it's safe at this point. I don't see his price dramatically decreasing much further. And I think the most you'll have is this very small loss, and they'll probably have a long-term gain. So that's my thoughts on Jace the Mind Sculptor. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as well about where he fits, what he's up to, what do you think is going to happen with him in Modern, and what do you think of the holiday card. Put those thoughts down below in the comments section, and if you enjoyed the video, tap the like button. If you're new to the channel, check in and subscribe. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys